Hi, and welcome to the full moon forecast, the 5 things that we need to know about this very important full moon, supermoon, lunar eclipse happening on the 17th and the 18th of September. So in this live stream, or if you're watching this as a video, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the astrology, the numerology. We're going to we have 5 things that we need to know that are important to know about this important full moon. I've got a few suggestions for spiritual exercises, and I have a few divination cards to get some more messages from spirit at the end. So if you're into it, stick around till the end. We're going to do a lot of good stuff tonight. So if you're watching this as a video, just give me another minute just to let the live people get their notifications. We'll begin in just a second. And this gives me an opportunity to say some hellos and hi Millie and Lisa and Doreen and Mr. Floyd listening, but at an art fair. Cool. Hi Susan. Hi Lisa. Judy. Who else is in? All right. Horses triggers hope. Welcome. Come. All right. I may have missed one or two of you, but that's good. Oh, good. So Millie's at her destination, safe and sound. Mr. Floyd or Joshua is listening, but is in an art show. Very nice. Or an art fair in Longmont, Colorado, I'm assuming. And it won't be chatty much. That's okay. Millie's walking to Wegman, so I Mike should be on shortly. All right. Very good. Very good. Let me grab a little water. And we shall begin in just a moment. I see we've been on 2 minutes already, so usually takes 2 to 3 minutes for people to get the notifications. Of course, it is Saturday evening. Most of you are going to be watching this as a video anyway, so most of you are not live that are going to be seeing this, but that's cool. Now, there's been a lot of pretty intense, crazy energy in the air, a lot of purging. I think we're finding for a lot of us that we're just coming up against a lot of negativity and challenge. It's almost like we're kind of at this threshold, I guess, as it were, or this energetic where we've had these big spikes in frequencies, and the things that have been holding us back in the past or that have been around us for our lifetimes, those repetitive types of challenges are really going to be coming up strong now. They probably already are. That's one facet of this full moon energy, and it is an eclipse. Eclipses, the eclipse seasons are twice a year, depending on time of year, depends on where the lunar nodes happen to be, or where the moon crosses the elliptical orbit of the sun. When it approaches it from the south in the sky, that's the south node. When it approaches it from the north part of the sky, that's the north node. The nodes are in very early degrees, Aries and Libra. So the north, I think it's the north node in Aries, south node in Libra. Oh, right now we're approaching from the south. So of course we're approaching the sign Libra. But because we're not quite in Libra yet, we're still in Virgo. It's not, when the full moon hits, it's not an exact alignment. The moon's still a little bit south of the ecliptic, so it's not a total lunar eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse, but it still has that sun-moon energy, very compact in one area of the sky. So these are our two largest gravitational influences on the planet, the moon number 1 and the sun number 2. So when they're so close together, it's just kind of, just like I was saying in the last eclipse season, especially with the solar eclipse, it's like a laser beam of gravitational energy. And then, of course, we're going to have a solar eclipse also in 2 weeks when we come into the new moon. So anyhow, there's a little bit of background. Excuse me. Let's get into some specifics. That's why my glasses are on. As always, I've got a lot of things in my notes here. So yeah, they're just saying a lot of purging. I think I covered that. Yeah, we've had these energetic spikes. I want to say we're in a lull. The energies are still strong, so a lull might be, the spirit saying it's kind of like an exhale in a way, and then this full moon is going to start to catalyze the next wave coming in. So the next energy wave is going to be starting to come in. And, this leads into eclipse season, into equinox season also. So here's some specifics for you guys. Hi, Julia. Hi, if I didn't say hi to you before, Michael, hi. And Carmen and Angela. And all right. So the gang's coming in. The full moon, September 17th. If you are in Europe, see, it's at 10:34 p.m. Maybe Bermuda also. Definitely Europe and Point East. It's actually on the calendar date September the 18th, early in the morning there. It's a partial lunar eclipse. September the 17th. Is a 7-day numerology. I think, did I write this down? 16 and 17 universal days. So basically the 17th is a 16 universal day. That's the tower. We talk about that a lot. Then the 18th is a 17 universal day, which is the star, which is very hopeful, very optimistic, very positive, and very spiritual. So we have both of those forces working in tandem in this moon. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but it really favors a lot of like shifting, letting old towers fall, rebuilding, basically. So double sevens, 16 to 7 in numerology. I forgot what the other 7 is. It's at 25 degrees Pisces. That's a 7 also. So that's double sevens. 7 is Neptunian energy. And the full moon just happens to be in the sign of Pisces, which is also Neptunian energy. So it's heavy Neptune energy. What does Neptune do? It enhances intuition and creativity. It's a higher octave of Venus. You think of Venus energy as being very heart-centered. It's about service, about beauty, about art, about money also, too, as well as love. So it's the higher octave of it. But Neptune's also about illusions and delusions. So we've been talking about pretty much every live stream since 2022, how these facades are falling, how more of the falsehoods in the society, more of the illusions and delusions, the cover-ups and all that, they're just not able to survive. So this is just kind of another nail in the coffin for those that are trying to fool everybody and program everybody into submission. So expect both in your personal lives as well as in the world around us, a lot of exposure of things like cover-ups, things that are hidden, negative agendas and stuff like that. So you're going to be, I'm not saying exposing in yourself, although some of you doing the shadow work, you may expose those parts of yourself, but I'm more talking about other people and the people around you. And this is going to lead to, and it is leading, and it has been leading to shifts in our friendships, our relationships, who we align with, and all that stuff. So partial lunar eclipses are about light and shadow, right? So this is a good time for shadow work. And also we come to the equinox, the balance of light and dark. So this is a really balancing of light and the dark. The dark's always going to exist. The light's always going to exist. It's which wolf you feed, right? So if we talk about dark, it's more like, say, the negative, even though it's not. I mean, it's almost dark outside now. The night's not evil or negative, right? But if we talk about it in those terms, there's like a balancing, there's a tipping point that's happening. And when there's that perfect balance, that's when you're present. That's when you're in the heart of the situation. Because when you're in your heart, you're in perfect balance. The left and the right are basically on both sides of you, and you're in the center. So this is really about balance. And we come into Libra season also. So anyway, 16 and 17 universal date. I've got everything written down, of course, which brings both destruction as well as hope, spiritual upgrades, etc., to the table. So things sometimes have to be destroyed in order to rebuild. That's what the tower does. In tarot, it's key 16 is the tower card. In Chaldean numerology, the symbol of number 16 is the lightning struck citadel. Same thing. That's the tower also. So the tower has to fall in order to rebuild. That can be in our lives, and that can be in the world around us. Now, that's been a theme for a while, for the last couple of years, but it's going to get a little bit of a boost now. It's going to be kind of almost like focusing that energy in this present time over the next 2 weeks to enhance and accelerate that process. So be ready to let things go. Be ready to see things maybe fall apart if you're holding on too much, and be ready to see things being exposed in society and things changing very quickly. All right, so moving right along. There's a few choice aspects that are happening. I think I covered that. Good. Okay. Mercury, the cosmic trickster, is opposing Saturn at 15 degrees. Mercury in Virgo, Saturn in Pisces. More Neptune energy. Neptune is very much on the table with the energies of this full moon. I'm sorry, just kicked my camera stand. If I shook, it was not an earthquake, but that may be coming soon in parts of the country. But in any event, so again, with that Pisces, that's like higher mind, that's ideals, that's the subconscious. Your Saturn's the cosmic taskmaster, and the structure and the governments, the infrastructures of society, all that stuff. What holds things together. Like Saturn kind of holds things together, so to speak. It's metal as lead, so that kind of gives you an idea also. So these are forces that are in opposition. It's like structure, status quo versus Mercury in Virgo and Saturn in Pisces. It's almost like Mercury's fine in Virgo. That's its ruling sign. Saturn is a little bit out of its element in the sign Pisces also. So I think Mercury's working, and Mercury in Virgo is more like the logic. So applying logic and thinking and forethinking is important in navigating this energy. Also, the Sun and Uranus trine. Uranus is at 27 degrees Taurus. Sun will be at 25 degrees, so it's a 2 degree trine, basically. That's beautiful because the Sun, that's our energy, that's our life. That's the life giver. Uranus is that evolution, revolution, surprises, sudden release of energy, all that stuff. That brings a really nice energy to help enhance like higher mind and to help the higher ideals to supersede some of the negative agendas. So nice aspects there. Also, Venus and Jupiter are trining. Venus now currently or will be at 23 degrees Libra with Jupiter hanging at 20 degrees Gemini. So that brings the air signs into play. And this is all about fairness. It's about growth, expansion. It's a good thing for money and finances and security also in our life. Uranus and Neptune sextile, having those outer planets in the sextile is a nice blend of energy also. Uranus at 27 Taurus, again, Neptune's at about 28 degrees Pisces. Yeah, that's a sextile. Just making sure I got that right. And Pluto and Uranus are still squared, as they've been squared for a while. Heavy, intense energy. All this is, again, enhancing that effect of the towers in society falling, the illusions and delusions, the false agendas, all that stuff, getting more exposure, getting more out into the open, and people waking up. This is a lot about awakening. Neptune and Uranus are very active, a lot about awakening. And Pluto's hanging out there and just barely 29 and about 50 degrees of Capricorn, waiting to go back into Aquarius. So it backs into Capricorn and into that very kind of grounded earth sign about, again, the society Saturn ruled and everything. So to me, this is like a last chance to clean up our act, in our lives as well as the world around us. Because once Pluto hits Aquarius for the next time, it's going to be in that sign for 20 years. That's like the advent of the true Aquarian age. We've been kind of trending from the cusp into the full Aquarian age. I think this is it. So again, it's not going to mean that everything's going to change overnight, but the trend is going to be for higher mind and more spiritual values to kind of seep into this greed-based and control-based society that rules over the planet right now, thus eliciting changes, transformations, and helping to scour the negativity out as well. Anything else here? Let's see. I just wrote in my notes, this hits the governments hard. Things like election fraud, crashes in the money markets, stuff like that. Now, a lot of this was also covered in my autumn 2024 forecast, which came out as a video, I think, 3 days ago. So that's still relatively new. And of course, I'll pin that to the comments when this becomes a video if you guys haven't checked that out yet. And I know a lot of you have. So anyway, 5 things we need to know. So how are you guys doing? Hi, Suzette. Hi, Judy. If anybody else that I missed that came on late. So number one, just kidding. Shadows exposed. It's the eclipses. It's about shadows. It's the equinox, light and dark. And as I always say, a shadow ceases to be a shadow when light is shined on it. So you have a shadow, you shine a bright light on that shadow. Where did the shadow go? It didn't go anywhere. It's just that it got assimilated into the light, basically. So shadows exposed. Good time for shadow integration work. Yes, both in society and personally. So in our own lives and in society, more shadows get exposed. And this is a good thing. Will precipitate more disclosures on corruption. Not that there's any corruption in the world, right? Of course not. In the governments, the business world, etc. And then we had that 16, degree energy, that 16 energy, which is the towers falling, which is, you could argue that into be more the dark, where 17 is the star, which is more of the light. So very much, this isn't one of the top 5 things to know, but I'll add it in right now. Balance, achieving balance is a very important aspect of this full moon also. Finding more balance in your own life, finding more balance in your activities in the world, and being in balance when it comes to your spirituality, when it comes to your relationships, your friendships, your actions being aligned with your soul purpose or aligned with your moral values, as it were. And because a lot of BS gets exposed, the BS that's within us, we all have it to greater or lesser degree, depending on how much work you've done on yourself. Reason I'm saying that is because we've all been programmed with BS. We've all been programmed by people who were programmed by people who were programmed, and the taskmaster of programming or social conditioning, as it were, is geared towards keeping people subservient so that they are basically slaves to the system and slaves to the hierarchy or the cabal or deep state or whatever name you want to give it, to keep them in operation, to keep the money there and the resources there and abundance there, and basically taking it from us. So in any event, what else did we write? Both 30 will precipitate more disclosures. All right, we talked about that. Very good. Mass exposure of corruption in society. Illusions exposed. We've got that 16 day. We've got that 25 degrees. All that 7 energy, Sun in Pisces. Heavy Neptune stuff. Don't be gullible. You use some of that Virgo Sun grounded energy, some of that logic to balance that intuitiveness. Because if there's too much upper chakra activity with no lower chakra activity, we become highly sensitive, highly impressionable when we shouldn't be, and highly swayed by other people or other forces or other energies. So grounding is another really important aspect when there's a lot of Neptune energy involved. So that's basically it. We all have different shadow aspects. We don't advocate losing your shadows because they're part of who we are. In fact, it's part of our intrinsic power source. we favor the integration thereof, allowing the shadows to integrate into the light. And then we become more whole, we become more balanced in this equinox energy, more complete and more aligned with spirit and source. And then we start to get messages more easily. We start to feel our guides and our angels more easily. So there's that. And that leads me into point number 2, intuition source. So that's the second thing to know about this full moon. It's a huge boost for intuition. Again, for the reason I mentioned before, lots of Pisces, lots of 7 energy, but also we're heading into that autumn season where the veils are naturally thin between the worlds, where things are dying, and it brings our collective consciousness closer to death. Now, if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's your springtime, so it has a somewhat different meaning, but it's still relevant. Basically, it's still a global effect, even if it's you taken to the solar cycle, if it's different in the southern hemisphere. So let's see, what did we write down? Oh, trust your dreams. Dreams are likely to be very active. It's actually Conscious Dreaming Month on Spirit Mind Family. That's the Patreon group, and we'll have information on how to join that if you're not a member. But you get a lot of benefits and extra energy work and channeling work, for $5 a month. So not to interject too much ads into this live stream, but it'll be on the pinned comment. But it is Conscious Dreaming Month. So the idea here is write your dreams down in the morning. Before bed tonight, just say some prayers, set some intentions that meaningful dreams, maybe ask for psychic dreams or lucid dreams to come in. And when you become lucid in a dream, a trick that I learned from Robert Moss, the author of Conscious Dreaming, who I had the pleasure of meeting many years ago, he says, find your hand in the dream. And thank you again, Suzette. Green super sticker today. I love you. Thank you for your donation. Appreciate you. So trust your dreams and work towards lucid dreaming. Amplified intuition. Veils lifting. The seasonal effect, the Pisces eclipse effect, and eclipse make the full moon stronger. A supermoon, which means the moon's closer to the earth, which means her influence is stronger on the earth, makes the full moon stronger also. And it's in Pisces. Very, very powerful intuition awakener. So work on that. Do more meditation. And this is really going to help to jumpstart, or I should say catalyze, further awakening in society. In the yearly forecast, they talked about, or the autumn forecast that I just did, Spirit talked about, especially November, December, huge spikes in awakening. I mean, it's happening already, but it's going to really amplify. And the effects of the eclipse, they last about 6 months. And what happens in 6 months, we get another eclipse season. We're always in some influence of some eclipse season. But I find the peak effects are usually not on the eclipse. There's some effects, but usually a month or 2 later, for me anyway. If you guys, it's different. That might be much. Yeah, so Laura's, I'll just flash this quickly because it's happening so fast and it's going to continue to happen. Exactly, yes. Anyway, let me see what else. So that's basically 2. So number 3 thing to know is big vibrational shift happening in the world, happening in the cosmos, happening within the collective fields also, our collective consciousness, personally and collectively. Now, one of the things about this, and this has been happening leading up to things also, is that there's a tendency to feel more drained and tired. So I don't know if you've been noticing that, but part of that is you're working very hard in higher dimensions and on the astral plane. So a lot of times when we sleep, we're sleeping, but we're doing things on other levels, and it's just also because the energies have gone so strong. We're in a lull or an exhale, I guess, and August especially, around Lionsgate portal and the Perseids, right around that time, we experienced collective quantum leap at that time. that's a huge energy spike, and consciousness arrives at a different level, a different energy level, and all that energy, our energetic fields collectively and personally, as well as our bodies, are more apt to want to rest, want to step back a little bit. So you may feel tired more often than usual or what you used to. And because Pisces is heavily involved, it affects sleep cycles also. So you'll feel drained. We've been through a lot. Time to reset and recharge. Okay. Some health changes, but that's more about purging and release. That doesn't mean that you're going to get sick or come up with something horrible. Basically, more light comes forth now. So that's the benefit of this shift, is that more light starts to emerge. Light meaning more like consciousness, awareness, higher energy, higher frequencies. And the equinox brings more awareness to what's hidden. So we have the Neptune energy, that's 7 energy. We have the equinox. Everything is bringing more to light. Great time for shadow work. It's always a good time for shadow work. It's a great time, and we're coming into the dark season, so even better, right? So that's number 3. Hi, blindly inspired. Okay. So number 4, the collective mourning or collective grieving. And we've touched on this in a couple of other live streams. These are messages that have gone from the master teachers. They've been kind of showing we have the collective purge, and then we have the collective quantum leap. Now the collective mourning happened. And it's like it's a grieving because we've shifted energy levels, and it's mostly subconscious. It's not necessarily in our awarenesses, but there's kind of this almost longing for what we had that we know we can't go back to. So that's where we're grieving and mourning come. But we still don't know where we're going. We're still kind of in that transition between the old and the new, the old earth and the new earth, basically. And collective quantum sheep has happened. So that's part of the collective mourning. We can't go back. It's a collective initiation that we're happening. So humanity's undergoing initiation. That's death rebirth process. Some of you joined me live at a retreat recently where we did Lion's initiation, which was hugely powerful. You guys, if you haven't started to feel that yet, you're going to be or are feeling a lot of changes, and some of your new gifts and abilities are starting to come. If you weren't there personally, but you're part of this family, even though you weren't there, you got some of that energy. Trust me. People like Michael, Suzette, people that are very very connected to our community here. I was going to say Jared, but Jared's here. Josh, yeah, didn't forget about you, even though you're quiet now. So it's a collective initiation. More light is coming with a cosmic crack, allowing us more access to the void, which is the spirit before manifestation, to transform our lives and society through the power of soul and spirit. So it's really big energy, by any other name, really big energy, really big changes, really big transformation. Pluto's very active, even though it didn't show up so much in the aspects. It's still very active because it's been around the very powerful Capricorn Aquarius cusp for about a half a year now or so. So I think that finishes at 4. So point number 5, manifestation. All full moons are good for that. But this is the harvest moon. Harvest. So what do you want to harvest in your life? So it's even more powerful. Plus the moon is stronger. Plus there's an eclipse and all that stuff. So this is a really good time to really double down on your manifestation work. One of the ways that you do that is you stop wanting and needing and stop trying so hard, and you feel like it's already real. That's how we manifest. That's how we do it. So just a little bit of background, especially for the benefit of people that aren't here all the time or used to my style or whatever it is. The manifestation is really, again, we can't want or need. We have to understand that there's a field of energy. It's called in quantum physics the quantum field. in spirituality could be the kingdom of God or spirit or source or the universe, whatever you want to call it. Now we're always part of that field. That field is always part of us. The field creates everything. All possibilities already exist. But because of various factors, one, we're in a physical body. A lot of us are starseeds and not really human. Thanks for the balloons. All right, I like that. I don't know why balloons just flew up, but thank you for the balloons anyways. Of course, I lost my train of thought, but thanks for the balloons anyways. We're talking about manifestation. This is where water comes in handy. He charges a little. Also talking about, and it's quantum field. I'm back. I'm back with you. Yay. We're always in the field, but because of our programming and I was talking about being, we're not most of us aren't really fully human. I mean, I'm an old soul starseed, so I've had a lot of, practice runs being human or whatever. But sometimes I find just being human annoying, for lack of a better word. I'm like, really? I can't move things with my mind the way I used to before I came here. All that stuff. But what's more so is that I find myself having human habits and having human responses and subjected to human programming and all that stuff. I find that very irritating personally, but anyway, the society really breeds that, and we're always in the quantum field. We're always there, and that's always part of us. So we always have access to that field that created everything, and we can utilize that field to manifest our reality. But we're so hyper focused on our physical lives, our day-to-day lives, our bodies, that we not sever, but pretty close to it, our connection to the quantum field. So, and this is one of the reasons that we meditate, because when we meditate, we start to allow ourselves to blend back with the quantum field. The idea is when you get present, you're a nobody. That's a Joe Dispenza expression. If you want to enter the quantum field, be a nobody. You can't enter as a somebody. So you want to lose that sense of self-identity. I'm not Adam. I'm not a medium. I don't have a body. I'm energy. I'm spirit. Temporarily, in this present now moment, I'm operating from this human system. That's not who I am. So when I'm really present, I'm not my body. I am the present moment. I feel the air, I feel the walls, I feel everything, but I'm focused on nothing. And then I feel super grateful for the present moment. I just feel gratitude. And then I achieve heart coherence. And I keep an intention in my mind. What is my dream? And it's happening in the now. I blend the heart, which is the emotion, with the brain, which is the intention and the thought. And when I send that signal into the quantum field, I create it in the physical. If I do this every day, not in a obsessive wanting or needing way, but in a way like it's already real, then the more power I put into it, the more it starts to manifest. So that's the idea. That's how to really manifest. Law of attraction, people say, well, you've got to do this, you've got to act to attract and whatever. And I say no. And I'll tell you why, because I know we're physical beings and in the physical world, and we have to act in the physical world. I get that part of it. But no, it's called the law of attraction for a reason. You become the vibration of something, it comes to you. Incredible synchronicities show up. All this kind of stuff shows up. And you know what you need to do in your physical life to augment that. You know what you need to do as a daily practice. Like I'm working. One of my goals is to build a large YouTube channel. That's not going to happen if I don't make videos or don't do a darn thing, right? But the thing is I'm attracting that energy to me. I'm not focusing on what I need to do that. I'm feeling like it's already real. And then I just know what I need to do here. I hope that makes sense. I think it does. So it's the harvest moon. This is the time to really manifest those dreams. But again, you draw from the quantum field, draw from spirit. The hard work in that aspect, the way we've been trained to do things in life, you'll still get ahead. It's not for naught or anything, but it's that old that old expression, trying to change matter from matter, trying to change density using density, but rather, why use density when you can use a much higher vibration to do that? Anyway, makes sense, right? Okay, I think it makes sense. Anyway, just a few exercises or a few things that they recommend. Then we've got some divination cards. Focus on integration. It's the equinox. That's the light in the dark. That's the blending the light in the dark with the heart, brain coherence, and the shadow work. So this is something that's been an ongoing thing as well. Okay, thank you, CC, for your comments. Yeah. Portal to a world where the people are not the same. Yeah. In different levels of reality, people are different. Absolutely. And yeah, there's no limits. That's the thing. When we're in the quantum field, there's no limits. And then we come back into our physical world, the limitations that are the limitations of our mind. It's like we literally can learn how to move things with our mind, change our reality. So it's really the only limitations in our thinking, but it's programmed. It's so ingrained in us that we really do have to do the shadow work, the purging, the blending with spirit and source, and keep doing that in order to transcend, that illusory reality that we all live in on this physical world. So that integrating the shadows, we've got several shadow integration videos. The one that I recommend the most, it's an older video. So from the perspective of being like on camera, it's not my best, but the information is still very good on that video. So if I remember, I'll pin that to the comments also. But to do the shadow integration work and to do the heart-brain coherence work, that is so important. And I'm really determined to make my prophecy self-fulfilling, when that being that I've seen during the 2020s that heart-brain coherence become one of the biggest spiritual practices, at least in the Western world, if not on the planet. And again, it draws upon the ancients. It's like, live with compassion, live from the heart. But there's actually now science behind it, and there's a set exercise that you do, which I modified for myself a little bit, which I think is even stronger than what I learned. And I'll share a video with that also. It's called Heart-Brain Coherence. And Heart Math Institute, Gray Braden, Joe Dispenza has some excellent information on the practice also. They're saying to do more angel work, channeling, take advantage of these veils being thinner, this heavy Neptunian energy, all this stuff that's aiding and abetting our ability to get from source and to get from our spirits, guides, the angels or whatever. But they were saying, a special emphasis on working with the angels and the angelic realm. Angels are probably the easiest to call on. All you have to do is feel love. Again, heart-brain coherence, feel compassion, gratitude in your heart. You get to become naturally magnetic to the angels, and then you call on them. There's certain symbols that I use for the 6 archangels that I learned from Steve Noble on YouTube through his meditations. But it's all intention. And you intend to connect with a certain angel, visualize it, feel love, because if you're angry or upset, you're creating resistance. You want to let all that go, feel love, and they're just drawn to love. They're magnetic to love, and they're here to serve you. They're here to help us in this very challenging physical lives that we've chosen to be in. So draw on your helpers and learn more about them. This eclipse is going to really jumpstart or aid and abet your work in knowing your guides more, connecting more with them, and being the change that you want to see in the world, and cultivating that. So that brings me to doing more law of attraction work and practice being the change and everything, and being the embodiment or the persona of that which is your dream and desire. So that's a big part of law of attraction also. Like if I want to be one of the top spiritual YouTube channels, I need to carry myself like a top spiritual YouTuber. Means that I've had to get over negative confidence issues or performance anxiety issues. I've had to feel like I already am in that role, basically, And those of you guys that have been following me for a few years, I'm sure you notice that I am more presenting the persona of a leader than what I used to do. And if assuming that that's true, then it's working. And then the reality around me starts to conform to how I show up in the world, basically. And if you're one that doesn't necessarily believe in the law of attraction, think of it this way. Psychology proves that subconsciously we send signals. We can't help it, and subconsciously other people can't help but to pick up on it and subconsciously treat you in accordance. So if I'm like all tentative and mousy and all that kind of stuff, I mean, it's subconscious. I mean, people may still love me or whatever, but who's going to follow me if I'm not that leader, if they don't feel confident with the direction that I'm providing? So I think you understand that. So work on that aspect of things also. And the other thing is work on healing. We've got a Virgo sun. We've got Mercury in Virgo. Healing, meditation, self-healing. You can pop on your favorite guided meditation for healing. You can do your heart brain coherence. You can do Reiki on yourself, energy work. I do a lot of visualization and self-healing. Diet, they just popped this in my mind. This is a great time for a cleanse, to do a cleansing fast, or do they say just 36 hours of fasting. I think they call that interval fasting, right? Anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, like once every other week or whatever. But doing things in a way where you're purging and cleansing. This is a toxic world we live in. Granted, our human bodies are equipped to handle a lot of toxicity, basically, which is a blessing, but it can build up in the system. And there's a lot of energetic toxicity. There's a lot of programming out there. Some of it happens through the very Wi-Fi signal that I'm working with now, and the very devices that I'm using. It's frequencies. We know that different frequencies affect the human mind in different ways, and our subconscious in different ways. And in the 1970s, they were using radio waves and doing experiments on that. You can read about that in, I think it's Peter Noon was the author of the Montauk Project books. So you can read all about that, what they were doing. And it's all experiments. And now it's much more sophisticated. We have 5G, we have Wi-Fi signals, and it affects our conscious and our mind. So how do you stay safe from that? You dwell in the heart. Remember, hearts cannot be programmed. Hearts can only love. The more in your heart you are, the more you become resistant to programming, even frequency programming, even the sophisticated stuff. And I'll tell you, once you've severed that, you're good. I fortunate in the 1980s to do a whole process of counter conditioning. That's part of my martial arts training. So I broke that chain of programming when I was still young, thank goodness. But it's part of my destiny. So anyway, so what else do I have to say about meditation, self-healing? You work on healing meditation. So Pisces, Pisces is the subconscious. That's healing also. Virgo activates the subconscious, enhances healing abilities and healing energy. So let's do some divination cards. I know since I started out with 19 people, I've got 42. Well, went down to 39 now. I guess 3 people weren't interested in divination cards. But anyway, the point being is a lot of you got on late, so I think most of you know. But if not, when we're done, you just go back to the beginning or click on the replay. So I've got my Isis Oracle deck with me, so I'm going to use that one today for this. Here we go. So what I need to do is clear my mind and ask Spirit to guide my hand. Okay, here we go. Of course, hands are bone dry, so it's hard to handle cards, but that's another one. Wings of Isis, uniting with the angelic self. So we were talking about angel work earlier. This is just sort of enhancing that. I'm looking at that and I'm seeing a phoenix also. I think, again, it's fine to let things go. We're having a collective phoenix experience or tower experience. But that, my mind is showing kind of rising above that. It's almost like watching things in your life fall rather than being so emotionally engaged in that, because then you're more aligned with your higher self and your higher truth, and then you're more aligned to the solutions to whatever the challenges are and the right courses of action to move through that, basically. Let me see what else I can see in this card. Well, it's just also very powerful divine feminine energy. So the divine feminine is a hugely powerful force. It's in the moon, it's in the earth, it's the force and the power that nurtures the plants and the trees to grow and all that stuff, nurtures life, basically. And I feel like in this card, they're sort of beckoning the question, are you really alive now, or are you just going through the motions? And if you're just going through the motions, this is a time to really, again, connect with the heart, connect with your angels, and set the intention. I'm going to live my life in my terms. Sometimes living your life in your terms does mean a certain level of conformity, because there's rules to this game of life. What's her name? Florence Scovel Shinn, the author of the Game of Life. There's rules to this game, so you need to know the rules so you can apply strategy. That's called being a spiritual warrior. And and this is a very warrior-esque energy here. So warriors will always assess their playing field and apply strategy. They'll learn to kind of move and flow and dance with the opponent, and by understanding that, then they know when to break the flow, or as it were, or to what's the right word, or I guess that's the best word I can think of right now after a full day of readings and not much sleep. But they know when to interrupt the flow and interrupt the dance to strike, basically. So assess your playing field, know the rules of the game. One of the rules: we need money. Unless you like living in the woods and you like eating bark and berries. I mean, you don't need money, but you know what I'm saying. So there's rules to this game. So that's what I mean by assessing the playing field, applying strategy, and playing to win, basically. Because your victory is everybody's victory, because it's all collective consciousness. It's not that anybody that's drawn to this work is seeking power over other people. You're just seeking self-empowerment so you can be there to help others and help society, basically. So that's what I'm seeing as a message from this card, to apply that spiritual warriorship. Hi, Heen. And CC, I think I said hi to you earlier. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I miss what. Hi, y'all. Hi, Mr. Floyd. All right. So I have let's do this. I usually on these, I do these divine abundance deck, because there's either a message or a prayer on each card that I think is nice. And then we had the frequency of the next couple of weeks of the full moon. Again, full moon is Tuesday, and yes, we will be doing live channeling here on the Medium channel for the full moon, as we normally do. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. is tarot time, so we're going to dive into the week ahead, 11 a.m. Eastern time, live or anytime as a video. Clear your mind. Found my card. Lost. This is interesting. So this is the card that I pulled, Lost. And the trees are going to start losing their leaves here in the Northeast. Loss isn't necessarily bad. Sometimes we need to lose things. So the message is, sometimes you learn true offering through loss. You make a passionate invitation for love to take over and bring her own plan instead of the egos. So that's a good message also. Loss, letting go. We can't let go of what we don't embrace first. So sometimes we have to learn the fine art of forgiveness, because that's for you. It's not for the other person that wronged you. That releases their energy from your energy field. So forgiveness is so important. And it's just what's coming to me, so I'll just go with the flow. And you know, can you forgive somebody like Hitler? Yeah, I get it. You know, if you're debating that, it's like, where do you draw the line? I honestly, you know, being of Jewish descent and all, I've already forgave him long ago. I'm multi religious, multi spiritual. So I remember what he said, or at least what the Bible says that he said. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And I conjecture Hitler was drugged, he was brainwashed, all this stuff. But anyway, point being is you forgive to release other people's energies from fouling up your own energetic field. When you hold on to that resentment, you're holding their energy, and it's a disease waiting to happen. So forgive, basically. And when you open your heart more, forgiveness comes easier. And you know, I've had my share of people screwing me over, accusing me of stealing, losing jobs, stealing from me, all kinds of stuff. I forgave them all. Basically, I don't forget. Could I be dumb if I forgot and let them do it all over again? But forgiveness. So I think that's part of loss. And also it's kind of coming full circle, because that's where we're at. We're at this place of loss right now. We had a collective quantum leap. We're part of that collective. That means that we shifted to a new energy, a new frequency. We can't go back to the old. We've lost the old self, the old ways. And it's uncomfortable because our survival instincts want everything to be regular. You know, that's why most people don't like change, because the subconscious survival instinct likes regularity and predictability, because that's what it believes you need to survive. So the thing is, everything's going to end. Everything's going to begin except for spirit. Everything else that's physical is going to end and begin and end and then begin again. It's a big circle, no circumference. So it's always changing. The circle can be a torus. It can become a tree, a flower of life. It can manifest as just about anything, but it's all a circle. It's all a continuation, basically. So, so the best way to forgive is to let love in, just like the card says. The more love you let in, the more you can release the other person's energy through forgiveness and be free. And that's the idea. We're here to be free in this lifetime. That's our primary collective karma, is to be free, to express free will. We haven't had that for at least 6,000 years as a collective. That's why. And if you look around, you see one person going to, you know, the same abusive job day after day, the same abusive partner. They may break up with one and go with another abusive partner. It's because freedom is such a new and foreign concept, and we gravitate towards the familiar. It's hard, even though that's what we want. So we have to lose things so we can step into that higher energy. We had the quantum leap, but our personalities take some time to adapt to that, and so gracefully release. You know, it's a collective mourning. You know, mourn, grieve the old, but embrace the new. Be really grateful for the new. One more, one more. I'll be there on Monday. What are we doing Monday? Monday, we're doing something on Spirit Mind Family on Patreon, which are our monthly Zoom meeting. So I'll have information on how to join Spirit Mind Family also. But Tuesday, I believe, is it's the 17th. That's Tuesday, right? I hope I have my days right. But that's when I'm doing the channeling. All right. Okay. I'm kind of your this is worthy. On these, I don't flash as many comments. On tarot time, I engage more with the community. But being that you're Jewish, and your mother, before she passed away, said to me that I I think I should forgive Hitler. And I said to Mom, I think that's the greatest thing you could do. Yeah, think of the collective grief um, there's another word for it. Grief is a good word, um, but it's like a cultural pain that Jewish people feel. Native Americans feel it too for their own reasons, and we get tied into that. But the forgiveness releases us from the bondage of that pain, basically. So yeah, I agree, Mr. Fly. That is really awesome, and your mom's a very wise woman, and I'm sure in spirit she's even wiser now. So frequency of this full moon, according to the sacred geometry deck, is divine masculine. It's interesting. We talked about the divine feminine. Let's give the divine masculine an equal nod. Well, it is the equinox, so it's the balance, right? And the frequency of divine masculine supports our strong focus and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with the kindness and wisdom. So again, they're just saying from spirit, I believe, because we're talking a lot about things like forgiveness and things like true law of attraction, where you attract yourself. They're just saying don't ignore the action part of it, that you have to show up in the world, you have to be strong, you have to be assertive and make your point. And that tends to be more of a divine masculine energy. So anyway, and you can get a little bit more information just by gazing in the middle and allowing just the energy of this divine sacred geometry just to connect with you. So balancing that divine masculine and feminine is where it's at. And that's what I got for you. Wow, we were almost an hour. I didn't think it was that long today, but it was. I guess I had a lot to say. All right. So anyway, so that's what I have. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. tarot time, Tuesday. Oh, I think I said Monday earlier. I meant Tuesday. We do live channeling for the full moon, and you have a couple of new videos up, new uploads that came out. I uploaded a no edit one today, just on a message. I have a dream message that came through. So that's up. The autumn 2024 forecast is up. We're going to do live mediumship on the 22nd for the equinox here on the channel. So I do that 8 times a year. You guys can relax. I'll get the messages and deliver messages in about an hour. And that's kind of my thank you also. So that's coming. I know there's a couple of other things. We have a channeling mediumship retreat coming here in the Catskills at the Peak of Foliage on the 18th and 20th of October. So there's always information on that. If you want to learn how to do mediumship and channeling, as well as energy healing, this is going to be a great retreat for that. I know there's a few other things, but I can't think of everything. But there'll be more information on the pinned comment. Oh, thank you. So you saw that one, Michael. I have a dream. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, everybody. I love you guys. And let me flash this here. So if you guys want to go to Rooted Willow readings, you can join Josh and the family there. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, I can't go. I've got to do my back office work. I got to go home. So I've had a long day, but I'll try to catch that sometime. I would be at more of your events, more of Jared's events, more of these events, but basically I have 2 full-time jobs right now, or the equivalent thereof. So that's my deal. But when you love what you do and it's your calling, is it like a job or is it just your life, basically? So I try to get to other teachers' events. We all learn from each other. We're all teachers and students alike, right? So thanks for being here. I love you. See you at the next video.